seemed like he had so much going on, and it was just beautiful that I was like, why don't you just try this out, you know?
Into it, and I did not like it and did not want to go back.
Recall where the house was.
Yeah, it's like right off the highway in Frederick.
Okay. You know the streets.
I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out again if I like really had to. Like off the top of my head, no.
Do you know the street name?
No. I would have to like drive around in there to get there.
Okay.
Hi guys, how are you doing? Nice to see everybody. I know it's a little bit late on a Monday night, so I'm sorry for that. As you guys, some of you guys know, I guess I still have COVID, but I was sick with it last week. So I was just getting back to work this week. I have to work remotely until Thursday or Friday. I'm not sure which one it is because the place that I work now is actually run by the federal government. I'm a federal government employee, which is so weird. And everything is very strict, of course. And the rules and regulations for coronavirus, along with everything else, is really strict. So in fact, this week, because this is a new job for me, I'm doing a new hire training that's mandated through HR. And I was telling, I think, a Curious Rose earlier today, I was on the phone with her and I was saying, it's so weird, it's all these adults are there, everyone else is in the classroom, and I'm there virtually, but, they're saying like, what are your core values? And, I just feel, if you're an adult in the workforce, everyone's that's a new hire was at a professional level. If you don't know what your core values are at that point, you're probably not going to last in a job too long. So is there really, a good point for the company and going over that stuff? But whatever. So let's see. So I was just looking at some of you saying, yeah, onboarding is a nightmare. Yes, onboarding. No. I was just noticing in chat that some of you were saying where you were from before I even asked. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So Kevin, welcome. I like vocal fry brown bikini. That kind of sums her up, doesn't it? And you're from Pennsylvania. I saw. Where from Pennsylvania are you from? And I'm sorry if I asked that before, but I think that some of you know I lived in Philadelphia for almost 20 years. I'm in upstate New York right now, but I'm always very curious about that. So, oh, thank you, Sherry Claiborne. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I just like kind of washed it for the first time in a few days because I wasn't feeling well. So I was like, I'm going to do that. Well, actually, just brushing it. But Williamsport. Okay, cool. Awesome. That's good to know. And Muffy Dragon Slayer, I'm glad that you didn't leave. Sorry, I was lagging behind. So sorry about that. So Kevin, you're 3.5 hours from Philadelphia. I think you're actually closer to where I live right now in upstate New York than Philadelphia. So, Pennsylvania, man, when you are somebody like me who's driving from upstate New York, down into New Jersey or even into Philadelphia, and you have to go across, or rather, through north to south Pennsylvania, like the whole state, it feels like the biggest state in the union. It's not, but it feels that way. It's a long state to drive through. I remember when I used to drive home from college from Pennsylvania up to upstate New York. I was always really nervous about it because I was always tired, studying, partying, all the things you do in college. So whenever I would drive, I would be tired, and it's just straight through, coal mining country. That's what's going on. That's it. So Ho Chi Winter, Perth, Western Australia. Oh, so many people from Australia. I just love that. I know 2 people from Australia. One lives there now, and the other one lives in New York City, actually, but he's from Australia. Other than that, I don't think I know too many people from Australia. It's so interesting that I get to meet all of you guys through YouTube. I just love that. And that's one continent I've never been to that I would love to go to. Not that that's the only continent I haven't been to. I think I haven't been to, well, I've only been to 3. So, but Australia's top on that list of 4. Yeah, 4. Yeah. Nobody's been to Antarctica. Has anyone been to Antarctica? Tell me if you've been to Antarctica, because that would be crazy. So, hi, Curious Rose. I will give you the link to come up here very soon, my darling. And thank you so much. So, I don't ever ask for, I feel weird about even saying this, but Curious Rose has been coming onto the channel as a guest very often. I think she's making a really big contribution to the channel. So, if it weren't for this, I wouldn't even mention this, but the channel, most of the revenue the channel makes are through the videos I create and upload. Live streams are like hit and miss. They often get limited or no ad revenue just because of some of the things we talk about. And it's really hard to control that, and that's okay. So, the revenue that does come in when Curious Rose is here, I'm going to split it with her, give it to her. So, if anyone wants to support Curious Rose, if you want to throw her a super chat or sticker or something, you're welcome to do that. And again, I feel weird even saying that, but just kind of how I have to do it. So we really appreciate her on the channel regardless. And I'll kick her some more anyway. Don't worry. Hi, Molson Man. I almost forgot, but I didn't. How are you, Molson Man? Let's see. Hi, Tia Marie. You said you were from, I had just seen it. So I'm going to get back up there where you said you were from, because I was surprised for some reason. I had you pegged to somewhere different. I don't know why. Let's see. Jennifer, the BX girl. Hello. Oh, I'm from the Bronx, born and raised New York City in the his house. Yeah. I lived in New York City for a very short time. And then I moved to like kind of central Jersey because it was very crazy and very expensive. I worked at Merrill Lynch at the time, and a few days a week I went right into Manhattan. The other times I was out in Pennington, New Jersey. They have this big, huge corporate campus out there. But man, it was crazy for the short time I lived there. Really crazy. Let's see. Hi, Jenny Bradford. How are you? Nice to see you. Venice area. Oh, okay. All right. That's not where you're talking to her. Okay. Oh, and good morning. Good evening. Well, good evening here. Morning for you, right? Ho Chi Winter. Thank you. And then Green Eyes from the Chicago area. I've never been to Chicago. Wow. And let's see. Hi, Carrie Little. Welcome. How are you doing? Welcome to the chat. Nice to see you. Tia Maria says, I've lived in Venice, Florida. Oh, really nice. I'd love to live in Florida. Well, yeah. In the middle of the winter here, I feel like I would love to live in Florida. Hi, Sparkling Bubbles. How are you from Texas? Nice to see you. DTC Primetime is also from Texas. I don't know if she's here this evening. I know that. And then we have another person whose name I can't pronounce that's often in chat from Corpus Christi, Texas representing. Did I do that right? Let's see. And Sherry Claiborne. I said hello, but I'll say hello again. Hi, Jane. How are you? Nice to see you. Oh, and your daughter is also a federal employee. special thing. Hi, Claire R. from Brazil. That's awesome. That is one country I have been to twice. And I believe on both trips, no, one trip I went to Aruba and I ended up going to South America. It was really strange. And the other time I intended to go to South America. Beautiful, beautiful. Hi, Debbie McLean. How are you? You're in Canada. That's right. Are you on the east or west coast of Canada? Are you the person that's from Victoria? Because I've done a couple videos on Lindsay Buziak, it's an unsolved case. I need to do another video on her. She was murdered up in Victoria, Canada back in 2008. No arrests. It's a really crazy story. It seems like there should be, but there's a drug cartel, all kinds of crazy stuff involved. Really interesting story. Guys, there are interesting true crime stories other than the Watts case. I'd love for you to give me suggestions on cases you would like to hear covered, because I do need to branch out. In addition to the Watts case, I just feel like that for myself. And also, I don't ever want to be forcing content. I don't want to get to that point, but I still want to be able to keep the channel going. So I need to have things ready to go. So please let me know what you'd like. Oh, hey, Truth or Transparency, my buddy. Thank you so much. I just see the super chat, and then let me say hello to everybody. I'll come right back down. I think I was a little emotional and overreactive last night, Lana. I'm really sorry. I accidentally got blocked from Truth and Transparency, and I had sent the moderators an email, and I was watching last night, and I went to just, give a supportive comment and chat. And I noticed I was blocked again. So I kind of emailed him again, and I didn't ream him out, but I was a little bit upset. I'm sorry. I get emotional sometimes. Hi, Barbara Warren. How are you? Newfoundland, Canada. Oh, awesome. So you're even colder up there most of the time than I am here. How does it work in Canada? If you go far enough north in Canada, I imagine no, never mind. That's wrong. You're going, I blame COVID all the way. Okay. Oh, and Cherry Claiborne, that's right. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because I have some family down there. We were talking about the Heather Elvis case, which I do have some content prepared on. And guys, when we do roll it out, you should watch it. It's really interesting, and justice has not been served for this beautiful young girl. I posted a couple of videos about the Heather Elvis case on the channel. Check them out. I'm looking to do that probably next week. And Jen Jett, not Joan Jett, but Jen Jett. Do you hear that a lot? You're from Pennsylvania too. Where in Pennsylvania? Oh, and Tia Maria, you're in St. Paul, Minnesota. Very cool. And I know the Curious Rose is in Pennsylvania. She's pretty close to me, actually. And oh, wow, Maltese Cross, England. Oh, very nice. Nice. Welcome, Maltese Cross. I'm glad that you're able to come to a live stream and make the chat. That's great. And my ADHD life, darling, I didn't know you were from Alabama for some reason. Did I know that? It was when I read that, it surprised me. Muffy Dragon Slayer, Cambridge, Massachusetts, Cambridge, Harvard. And let's see. I think I got everyone, or I hope I didn't miss any. I just always want to be complete here. And where are you from, Truth and Transparency? And come back. Oh, Brian Phillips. I don't know if you're still here. I hope that you are. Yes, welcome. And Ara, hi, sweetheart. How are ya? So let me get back down here. And oh, no, you're all good. Oh, Kelly searches equals answers. Hello, I got your text, darling. I think it was last night. I actually changed the live stream from last night to this night because I was not feeling good, the COVID thing, and I fell asleep. So, but let's talk soon. Definitely, I would love to do that. And oh, thank you so much, Truth and Transparency. I think I owe you guys an apology, and your moderators, tell them I'm sorry if I was overreacting. I didn't mean to. Us women, we get emotional. No, it's not just us women. I shouldn't say that. Everybody gets emotional sometimes. And if you don't, you might have a problem. Okay. So, okay. Let's see. Who else is down here? Hi to Carrie Little. Carrie Little. I like that name. Face in the crowd. Hi, how are you? Welcome. And Michelle Gardner. Hi, welcome, darling. How are you? Double R is here. Awesome. Long time no chat. Would you say? Just missed my shout out. Oh, Ohio. Woohoo. Nice. Lana, or Truth and Transparency, are you from Ohio? I feel like I'd heard that before. I'm not sure. Let's see. I'm not sure about that. And let's see, Meeser Mom, North Carolina. Oh, right in the hot spot of some of the some top current topic controversy. Let's see. If I missed you, please say hello in chat. Oh, hello, Edward. How are you? Alberta, Canada. Hi, how are you doing? Nice to see you here. Oh, and Maria, how are you? First live. Welcome. I'm so happy that you're able to make it. It's great to see you here. Awesome. Good stuff. Oh, yeah. You just said Ohio. So Truth and Transparency also represent in Ohio. Okay. So listen, and thank you, Lana. I really appreciate you coming on. So Lana says, hey, Muffy, Kelly, yes, I blame the people that mod and fall asleep and just time out and block my friends. We laugh about it all the time. So I had to come make sure. I personally told you I'm sorry. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I know that we've done that plenty of times too. And I mean, we actually never mean to block people. I think we have 7 people in total blocked from this channel ever. And they're for good reason. And if you thought hard enough about it, anyone that watches this channel, you probably can figure out who they are, because most of them are creators that are kind of mean. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is Chris Watts' confession, and we're going to listen to most of it together. Now, we're going to listen to part of the what I call, and a lot of people call, the jailhouse confession, when CBI's Tammy Lee, FBI Special Agent Graham Coder, and Detective Dave Baumhover traveled to Dodge Correctional Facility after Chris Watts had pled. He was sentenced, and he was already serving his 5 life sentences plus 5 consecutive life sentences plus prison term. So that was really an unprecedented move. It's not very often when you see the investigators actually travel to a prison to interview somebody who's already been sentenced and is already serving their sentence. You'll see interviews, and maybe you'll see reporters, maybe you'll see Stone Phillips or Barbara Walters back in the day, or whoever it is. I watched Dateline. I don't know. I can't think of all the names right now, but it's not often you're going to see investigators go to a prison and hear what someone has to say after they're serving their sentence. Generally, as I'm sure you know, their primary concern is getting all of the information necessary to deliver someone a proper sentence ultimately. So, in the justice system, ideally, as they say, so they can pay their debt to society, which we all know is a joke, because if you do something as egregious as killing a pregnant woman and 2 children, if you've done it yourself or if you're part of it, you can never pay your debt to society fully, but you need to get the hell out of it, right? So the serving debt to society statement is being one of the purposes of our justice system. I feel weird about, but so yeah. Meezer Mom just says very unusual. It's definitely a very, yeah, exactly. It's really just not a normal thing to do. Hi, Joan Bradley. How are you? One of our wonderful moderators is in his house, and Joan is from right outside Philadelphia too. She says, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Watts the Obsession. Thank you all for being here. She is like the hostess with the mostess. So, all right. And Truth and Transparency, if you're heading out, good night. I hope everything's going well. I'm sorry for the stuff you're going through. Last night's live stream was very interesting. The information Christine had to put forth. I didn't know much about what had been going on. I just picked up, a little bit of what you said. I usually watch your live streams when they're about a case. But I still had heard you talk about it a little, but it really shady stuff, guys. So go check out Truth and Transparency. If anybody would care to please drop the link in chat. I don't know, Muffy, if you're here, or one of the mods, if you could please do that, that would be awesome. I would really appreciate that. Everyone check out Truth and Transparency. Lana has been covering issues on the Watts case for a very long time. If you don't know her, she is the woman with the binders. Very organized and very thorough in the research she does. So I definitely respect her work and would recommend checking out the channel for sure. So Talisa Wright, hello, Delphi Murders. I'm going to do it. I'm diving in. I've had 2 videos that have been in production on the Delphi murders, and I don't know, I guess I feel like insecure about it because so many people know so much about that case, and it's such a complicated case. I feel like I have a hard time learning enough about it to feel confident putting the videos out. Does that make sense? But you know what, guys? I'm just going to do my best. I'm going to put it out there. and and we'll go from there. And then we can chat about it too. I can learn from you guys. I've been following it for a long time. There's only so many hours in a day, and it's a complicated case. So Barbara Warren says Lana is very interesting. So another endorsement of truth and transparency. Okay. So I am going to, I'm going to drop in the chat is channel membership. If you'd like to become a member of the channel, we are sometime this week going to have a members chat, and I don't like to disclude people who are not members in most things that we do. There's just a couple things, and sometimes I need your feedback on things that are just really sensitive subjects out there. I don't want to jeopardize the channel. I don't want to, cause anyone harm. I don't want to cause any general trouble. Anyone that's going to get upset about what we might have to say is probably already a little bit troubled, and rightfully so. I don't mean that in like a mean way. So that's primarily the purpose. So, it's not something I do all the time, but regarding this case, sometimes it's necessary. So that's all. So, wait, I want to see, what did Joan say? Joan says, Lana is the best at boom. She is at the boom. She's a hard worker. That's totally true. Yes, another endorsement of truth and transparency, Lana's channel. Okay, so now cool, thank you. I want to watch, and then I will be looking into that. Awesome. Yeah. Double up. Membership is $2.99 a month. Yeah. So membership is $2.99 a month. I think there's some other options more expensive because some people had asked for it. I don't even really do that anymore. So it's a $2.99 one. Yeah. So let's see. Beverly Webster says, Kelly, will you do me a favor and keep debunking these rumors for these families, please? Well done to you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So I've been doing, some videos recently that are, I'm aware of what's going on in the Watts universe. There's only a few channels I do watch. I watch Truth and Transparency. I watch Armchair Detective when I can, because he does live streams almost every day. If you want to check him out just about any day of the week, it's around 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And there's a couple other channels I watch. I mean, I really, in the Watts community, there's a lot of channels I really like. I'm going to miss them all if I try to name them all. I really like Plunder a lot. I would say Truth and Transparency, Plunder, and Armchair Detective. Maybe you're like the top 3 I catch. That do consistent Watts coverage, I should say. But I lost my train of thought. Oh, I know. But I'm aware. I hear from moderators are great at telling me about this, even just members. People will email me and say, oh, this channel is saying this and like it's driving me nuts. And we know that this isn't true, and then so I'll start looking into it, or I'll get information from people and then put a video out debunking the really mean, inaccurate, hateful, spiteful, dishonest rumors that some people like to disseminate about the tubes. I don't think it's cool, so I will continue to do that. As long as people keep putting out that crap, I'll be debunking it. What can I say? Yeah. So, okay. So let me drop the link in chat here. I'm just going to put in chat because now that everybody knows who that long time ago YouTube flasher is, we don't have to worry about that weirdo coming around no more. You guys know what I'm talking about, don't you? All right. So here you go, Curious Rose. I'm going to pop this here in chat. Link. There you go. Okay, very good. So what we're going to do is the portion, let me just set this up for you. So the portion of the Chris Watts interview that took place in Dodge Correctional Facility, again, obviously, well, not obviously, could have been serving time for something else, but it was after he was sentenced for the murder of Shanann Watts, 15 weeks pregnant, Bella Watts, age 4, Celeste Watts, age 3, and then there were some charges for unborn baby Nico, who again was in his mama's belly. Shanann was 15 weeks pregnant. Now, I myself, and thank you very much, I only have one contact in, so I'll probably be squinting. So if anyone wants to call me out on that, it's because I don't have a contact in. So, and I know it's none of you guys. So 80 Lady J, thank you for becoming a member. That's awesome. Thank you very much. And welcome. I didn't see you yet, so welcome. So, I know a lot of you feel this way. I feel this way. I think he should be in prison for heck sure. I almost said a really bad cursey word, but I don't think he's the only one that should be in prison. Do I think Chris Watts is where he should be? Heck yes. Do I think, just to be clear, that Shinhan Watts had any culpability or whatever in the murder of herself or her children? But I do think that there are other people that were not thoroughly investigated, or they made a deal, or I think they should be perhaps paying their debt to society, as we had mentioned earlier. But this part of the interview that we're going to be listening to, again, I digress, was the interview from Dodge Correctional Facility. And I will give a trigger warning. It is hard to listen to. This part of the interview is difficult to listen to. It really is the most, thank you, Double R, for becoming a member. Thank you. I appreciate that. It really, and then you'll be able to come to the members chats. It really is the most critical part of this interview. I think it is one of the reasons that investigators went to interview him, was to get this information, to find out what really happened. I do think it was haunting them that they didn't know exactly what happened to the girls. I do think that they also went out there to find out information about his former mistress, but only they will ever know their true intentions. This part of the interview is interesting because, in my opinion, let me give you just a very short little background on myself. I'm a special educator. I'm also a certified applied behavioral analyst. So I've been trained in behavior, analyzing behavior. I had to flip those words. So what that means is two things. You're trained in nonverbal communication, which is body language, facial expression, everything that's not speaking. So that's, your posture, facial expressions, the way you're looking when you're talking, might you be hiding your face with your hair or something else, or doing some other kind of blocking, people, just watch them. If they're talking about something, it can be something that they're either insecure in speaking about, or usually what it is they feel guilty about it, or most commonly they're being dishonest. They will, put their hand over their mouth, or even just, touching their face. And people touch their face for reasons other than blocking. Like, I just had wisps of hair in my face. I needed to get them out because they tickle, or it might just be a habit. So it is not all the time that someone touches their face, of course, or even their mouth, that it's blocking. And again, by blocking, what that means is what you're saying with your words, or even, usually with your words, is usually dishonest, or you feel guilty about it, or you feel insecure about it. It's generally dishonesty, though. Insecurity and guilt will show up in different ways. The other part of training in analyzing behavior is analyzing the spoken word. So that is, first of all, gathering information on someone's verbal baseline or speech baseline. So how do they normally sound when they talk? What is their voice intonation like? At what, rate do they speak? What's their, there's all these things like, prosody, rhythm, pace, cadence. All of these things can be measured. Now, yes, there are tools that you can use to measure all of these things. But you also, a trained ear, or even an intuitive ear, like anyone who's not trained in behavior analysis, you just get that. You listen to someone, you're like, I just feel like they're lying. It just doesn't sound right. You don't have to be trained in this to know that. Intuitively, I think sometimes our intuition is our best guide in determining if what we hear is factual, honest, or if there is an alternative motive. So that's just a very brief synopsis of what my training is. So I'm going to apply some of that as we listen. And we're also just going to give our, personal, visceral, emotional, logical reactions to what he is saying. So thank you very much, Tia Maria, for coming a member. I appreciate it. Happy welcome aboard. So with that, I'm going to invite Curious Rose on board, and she's going to come on panel with me. Sorry it's taken so long, my darling. Let's see. Hello, Curious Rose. How are you?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm well, and you look great, Kelly. Good to see you.
Oh,
You look so pretty.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate that.
You
I
needed
feel
the
like
sleep, right?
I needed the sleep so
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, of course
Yeah.
you do. COVID,
Yeah.
you're exhausted.
Yeah. I mean, I just get Wilson man once asked me, he's like, do you ever sleep? And I was like, I really don't need a lot of sleep, but when I sleep, I crash. Like I will be known to sleep for a day, like
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
don't
also have
sleep
lupus,
either.
but yeah.
It's a terrible
So
thing. It's awful, but
yeah, it's
it's what
crazy.
it is.
Ugh. Okay, so what I'm going to do, is there anything else that you want to say? I know I've just been talking.
No, I'm happy that we're doing this. It seems everyone is pretty happy about it in chat.
Awesome.
My background with it was because we had to learn body language and especially voice intonation when dealing with addictions, and we also did rotations at the prisons. So
that's great.
yeah, I found that definitely the voice intonation. It's just like little things that normally you don't even pay attention to, but say so much when you do learn, the different types, and along with the body language, there's just so much you can pick up from it. So I'm excited for this.
Well, that's really good. I know that we were talking about the training with the body language. I didn't know that you had the training with the voice intonation and stuff too. So that's really interesting.
That's
a great guest, a Curious Rose. Everybody give it up for a Curious Rose.
It's a big one with addicts, especially with addicts. You try to pick up on what they're saying it to you, how they're saying it to you. A lot of times they're manufacturing their story as they go along. So it's something you need to learn.
What kind of justifications are using for certain things. So we'll continue with this kind of thing. If you guys like it, I will definitely continue doing this kind of thing. So now the first couple minutes of what we're going to be listening to, there's no video for. It's just going to be the audio. And then, I had made a video for another part of it. All of it is audio enhanced. I don't know. Okay. Oh, you just muted, I think. Yeah. So hopefully we're going to be able to hear things. It just sounded really different in my earbuds. I was like, what happened? You can mute if you want, wherever you need to. So hopefully we're going to be able to hear some nuances and subtleties that maybe we have or haven't heard before. So let me just bring in the audio.
Okay, I'll mute now.
Okay. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Wrong one, sorry. Let's see. I want to do that. Okay. Sorry, gotta find the right one. Also the wrong one. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I have a couple different screens open here. All right. Okay, figure out what's going on there. Okay, so here we go. Nancy Ann, hi, how are you? Did I see Nancy Ann and Tracy Wheeler? Hello, how you doing? Do you have your power back on, Nance? Oh, good. I'm glad that you're here. Sparkling Bubbles, I say hello. I think John McSmith. Ah, boy. Oh, John McSmith. All right, here we go. So this starts right at the part in the interview when investigators start to ask him about what happened, after Shanann came home from that trip to Arizona when, bad things started to go down. You'll notice that he starts to, kind of try to throw them off course, but let's take a listen.
Things that happened weren't there. They just were little tiny ingredients to this recipe.
Yeah, nothing like
It's nuts, Chris. I mean, it's just so many things just didn't go your way.
everything was like somebody was stirring a pot, and we just
It's exactly what it was like.
Now, Curious Rose, I just want to say, anytime you want to jump in, you can just start talking and I'll pause it.
Okay, I'm good. No problem.
Yeah, okay,
Thank you.
cool. And it's like, it's interesting to me already. I think that you guys have probably picked up on it. I believe that the technique that FBI Special Agent Coder is using is, it's good cop, bad cop. He's clearly the good cop. He gives Chris Watts a lot of compliments. He feeds his ego. He empathizes with him a lot, or acts like he does, in order to give Chris that, kind of foundation of comfort to bring out some details. And Chris Watts responds really on cue, like Coder just said, it seems like, there's a lot of ingredients. You'll hear a lot of times Chris Watts will just go directly to echoing Coder saying, yeah, there was a lot of things and, really stirred the pot. So he's thinking, he's hearing ingredients. He's thinking stir the pot. Yeah. And that's what comes out of his mouth. I just find that interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So then, I know I keep bringing it up. Can you walk me through just the last few minutes before Shanann died?
it was pretty much just I had gotten dressed for work, and then we started talking.
Did she come to you?
No, I was just right there in bed.
Oh,
I just,
okay.
Yeah, so I was just I got my blue shirt on, my and everything.
You ready to go?
I was ready to go, and
Was she asleep, or did you have to wake her up to finish your conversation? Or?
I wake her up because she got home 2 o'clock, so she pretty much out of it. But I never knew if her plane got delayed. Someone always told me she just sat around with Nicole, just talked for a while and came home. I'm not sure if that was
Somebody.
So, if you're listening to this, so what Chris Watts is asking us to believe is that, well, we know that Shanann got home at 1:48 a.m. That's when there's the camera footage of her walking into her house. I believe that's real camera footage. And, according to what Atkins says too, who I also believe, that's what's up. So he wants us to believe that she got home, they had sex, she fell asleep. Now he's waking up. By all accounts, he says, he wakes up around 4:30 to go to work. There's a caveat to that though. And then he gets dressed, he gets ready, and now he's back in bed, waking her up to talk. But we know that that's not true because we have the health data from his phone. And he was moving around. He was moving around a lot from 3 to 4, going up and down flights of stairs.
Right.
So you got to kind of ask yourself why is he telling this story? What is he trying to cover up? And that last part where he just said, I heard, there was some talk about, maybe her flight wasn't really delayed. Maybe she was just sitting around talking to Nicole Atkinson. Now, who would he have heard that from before being arrested, unless it was the former mistress?
Mm.
Who would have said to him? So after Shanann gets home, the only time he talks to anyone is in the context of really Shanann and the girls being missing. So who's going to say to her, oh, yeah, I don't think her flight was delayed. She was just talking. I don't know.
Right. There would be no one else.
Yeah. So Talisa Wright says he is either a liar and nothing he says is true. Well, yeah. So, okay, let me get back to playing that. Let's see. And
But yeah, when she came home and everything, but yeah, like I woke her up and talked to her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And is that because it was just eating at your
Yeah,
brain?
like I knew like something like did something go right with me. So I know like she knew. I just knew she knew. I just felt like maybe the kids weren't going to be there when I got home that day.
Oh, interesting. Now, I don't mean to offend, but I have to ask, is that really the truth?
I really felt like they weren't going to be there when I got home that day.
Oh. And
Like
so-
she would take them somewhere?
No,
Or-
I just felt like either maybe I wouldn't go home, maybe they weren't going to be there, or I wouldn't be allowed in. Type thing.
I think I saw some text messages where she had talked about that she would take the kids to another state or something because she wouldn't be able to afford to live in Colorado or something like that. Did she say that kind of stuff to you, or
Yeah.
what did she say about that?
She said she couldn't afford to live in Colorado on her own, and that I told her like, well, drive. I mean, she pretty much makes the same amount I do.
Yeah.
But she said that she wouldn't want to try, just because Colorado the price of living there was a lot higher than North Carolina.
And just so I'm clear, you thought maybe she in your mind you thought maybe she would take the kids somewhere else or like lock you out of the house or
Or just like I wouldn't want to make a scene like trying to like pound on the floor trying to get in or anything like that.
I wouldn't want to make a scene, but I'm okay with murdering my family,
Yes.
And
Yeah.
one question kind of piggybacks on what I was just saying about what I think he had heard from Nicole Kessinger. He's saying, well, Shanann and I had talked about this, and she said she wouldn't want to live in Colorado because of the cost of living. I personally don't think that they ever talked about getting a separation. So I personally think that, again, it was I think a lot of the things that he says that Shanann said to him, he really got from his former mistress. So I think, he and the former mistress were talking about it, and he says, well, maybe she'll move back to Colorado. And her being so focused on money all the time, says, I don't think that she's going to want to move to, I don't think she's going to want to live in Colorado. Maybe she will. At least it's a lot cheaper in North Carolina,
Yeah. And he's agreeing with Tammy. Now, what Tammy's talking about is text messages that they've already recovered from Shanann's phone, where Shanann's talking to her girlfriend saying, I'm not going to be able to afford to be here.
Right.
I can't. Not,
Right.
he knew none of this. This was not any text between Shanann and
No.
Chris, but yet he agrees with Tammy as if, yes, they had that type of conversation, which they didn't. From what we've seen text wise, they didn't.
Right. And he admits, that he, on a couple occasions, that, he didn't really tell her, oh yeah, there's someone else. Oh, I just couldn't do it. But I could put my hands around her neck and strangulate her.
Right.
It's
yeah,
so, he's just so he's so creepy. But yeah, hold it.
He is.
Just 1 second. I have a little bunny here that I know, because I'm a rabbit farmer. A bunny farmer.
Bunny.
A baby voice bunny farmer.
Aw.
So I have this rabbit here that I'm going to show her to you.
Good.
She likes to, let's see if you can see her here. Whoa. Oh crap. I got my little setup. She's in the green cage on top of another cage there. That's a temporary thing. Do you see her moving around?
Yes.
She throws her roof off of her cage. Hi, honey. Look at her. She throws it off of her cage, but then she just sits in that. We're like she just sits in the tray. She doesn't go anywhere, but she just doesn't want the roof. She's like, I want a full. Whoa, wait, hold it. She's about to drop in. I've got little baby bunnies running around here.
Aw.
Honey, come here, baby girl. It's all right. I know. It's whenever her cage gets dirty. She's like, come clean my cage, damn it. Oh gosh. Okay, I'll just get one. Okay. All right. So then I got cute little baby bunny. Say hello to everybody.
Oh my God, it's so tiny.
So tiny. This one's only like 2 weeks old. Hello.
Oh, I'm in love.
So
Oh,
cute. So cute.
so
Like the size
cute.
of a little hamster.
Oh, he's beautiful. Just laying there with you, cuddling.
Oh, he's like, I really don't have a choice. You're like 8,000 times bigger than me at least.
Oh, he's beautiful.
Oh gosh. So let's see. I want to see what Ho Chi Winner said here. I started reading and thought it was interesting.
Okay.
NK knew everything about CW. Oh, it's just Bunny just peed on me. Thank you.
No,
Thank
really?
you. Yes. Thank you,
That's
little
marking
one.
his
Oh God.
territory.
Yeah.
He's marking his territory.
Right there. I know. Yes, I'm your mommy. Oh no, I'm not your mommy. I'm your human. Go away. Oh, now I got Bunny pee on me.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So anyway, okay, I'm a bunny farmer. It's fine. So Ho Chi Winner says NK knew everything about Chris Watts and Shanann Watts, the pregnancy, their marital status. NK was pushing him to make their relationship known. This day was a catalyst. First day, SW is back. Not sure CW knew that his mistress knew everything. You know, that's a really good point because we have all observed that she knows everything about him and about that marriage and about his finances through her interviews with law enforcement. But does he know she knows everything? Because we also know that she's a prolific Googler.
She's a Googler, and she's a stalker, but I don't think she wanted him to know just how insanely crazy she was about him. There's no way that she would have told him every little detail that she was looking up. That's so creepy. I mean, as much as he's creepy, so is she for all she Googled.
But then, he told law enforcement. So she did tell him that, she was like, that she had Googled, like, will he marry his mistress? And weird.
He told her, yeah, I think he was kind of, I don't know, like tooting his horn. I think he was feeling pretty cool about that. Like he was really a wanted man almost.
I think he was too, but like,
oh God,
I mean,
so
even if you did do that, which I think is weird, would you tell the person? Like,
never.
No.
Never.
So much dysfunction junction everywhere.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Man. All right. So let me get back to the audio here.
Okay. Thanks, Joe.
Dysfunction junction.
I just felt like, that was what I did on Sunday. It was kind of like, or Saturday night was kind of like the last straw. Kind of like going out with somebody and using an actual bank account card and just like not trying to hide it at all.
So walk me through it though, because she comes home, she touches you, you guys have sex, you fall asleep, then you wake up for work, all natural, all, a normal day's work type thing.
Yeah.
What was it that made you think, I just can't do this anymore, I have to talk to her?
It was eating away at me. Like I knew like something, I knew everything that I did. Like I know like when I was with Nikki, it was different. Like I wasn't even like in the realm of I'm a dad, I'm a husband type thing.
Oh.
And then like I was saying, when I'm never at home, like sleeping in my own bed, like I have no like concept of that anymore.
Interesting.
That is interesting to me. And what that says to me, not even as, from the behavioral voice intonation training or whatever, but he really was in a fantasy world. I mean, yes, his wife was away, he's starting this new hot and heavy affair. I mean, I've never had an affair with a married man, but just everyone knows, like that kind of feeling of being like in a new relationship or something exciting like that. And you kind of get swept away in it and maybe don't connect with all of the reality factors in your life as much as normal, but to feel so removed from your family and your marriage. I mean, people, a family you've created just because you're having this like fling with this hoochie mama.
So
that's
quickly.
Extreme.
Quickly. So quickly. It's almost unheard of that it could happen that fast. Because, by all intents and purposes, if we go by what he says, they really just started seeing each other in June. If that's truly the case, you could totally forget about your family within weeks. I mean, you really have to be disturbed to be able to
You
do
really
that.
have to be
If
disturbed.
that's the truth, that they really didn't start seeing each other. Do I believe June? No, I don't know about that, but
It's hard
that's
to
what
believe.
it is. If that's what he's telling us, just the thought of
Mhm.
that makes him just so detached from reality, from life, his day to
Yeah.
day that he wanted to run from so badly that the first person he could latch onto, he could immediately forget what he had already had for years. I don't. It's just. I think it blows all of our minds because there's no clear cut answer.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Let's see. I'm just trying to catch a couple things. And there's such good things in chat here. If I highlight
Yeah.
all of them, it's going to go really long. Let's see. Yeah. Gail, what you said about yeah, I'll just pin it so Gail just says, I heard the CW says she wanted to have sex and he did to kind of see if he had any feelings left for her or something to that effect. Yeah, he says like it was kind of a test. I'm not sure if it's in here, but I felt like the investigators took it a different way than when he meant it. But yeah. So Ara says to a Curious Rose, my man last night said they Googled SW in 2017 because she had already met Chris Watts and wanted to know who the wife was. What
I
do you
mean,
think about that?
I don't. Google doesn't lie. So whether it was she Googled him or she Googled Shanann in 2017, she was looking at them. Why?
Yeah.
Had she already met him? Maybe not. And I don't mean met him and that they were seeing each other. Just met him in passing by. He was working prior to Anadarko for some geology company. She's a geologist. Their paths may have crossed.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What did you say about him working for a geology company?
prior to Anadarko. I forget the name of the company, but it's like someone help me in chat. What was the name of the company before and not the car lot? It was after he had the carpal tunnel and he had to quit the car place, but it was before Anadarko, and I swear
I thought he went straight to Anadarko. I didn't know that.
no, I swear the name has geology in it, like the name of the company. So you never know if their paths had crossed. It doesn't mean that they were seeing each other, but she seems pretty stalky, needy and clingy, and I think she's the kind of girl that it wouldn't take much more than a hello or anything for her to start the wheel spinning.
I agree with that. Now, Papa B here says something that I find to be very interesting. Welcome, by the way, Papa B. Papa B says, how did she, meaning the former mistress, know the finances when Chris didn't even know what Shanann was doing with the finances? Now, this is interesting because it is, I mean, I have very few theories in this case, but it is my theory based on logic and understanding what both of their personalities are like based on what they said in their interviews and just the behaviors that we can observe or that we know about, that I think Chris Watts was initially rather oblivious to the financial aspect of things. Why did he entrust Shanann with all that financial stuff? I think she probably was really convincing. I think he had his hands full with being a hands-on dad and his career. I'm sure he wanted to trust her with the finances, and she was probably very convincing. Somebody else mentioned, the 10,000. Why was that $10,000 loan taken out? And somebody else said, well, they were behind in their mortgage. But the thing is, and I've had a video also in the works forever because I've researched a lot of this on breaking down their finances. It's interesting, but creating it is really boring to me because it's very involved. Like numbers. They never started to get caught up on their mortgage after the time that 10,000K was taken out of his retirement or his 401K that Nicole asked about.
Yes.
It was not going towards the mortgage, and that is all shown in the financial records. Now, I know that there are people out there, and Michelle, if you're here, she's one of them. And I know people who are involved in MLMs and they work really hard in them. And they do how they do sometimes. Well, whatever it is they want to do, they do it without doing weird, shady things. I personally believe, and there's a lot of support to this belief that being involved in a few MLMs myself, and then looking at what's going on, I'm sure she was dumping money into into Thrive to keep her status, because she wanted it. But also, if she dropped below the status she was at, she lost that monthly car bonus. So in her mind, she's thinking, this is what I believe, I'm investing in my business. I'm keeping my car bonus, so I'll write $600 a month off top. Even if I'm running at a loss with what I'm putting into the company each month, I am making some money. My business is growing. I'm getting my car bonus. It all works out. Well, that's what Lavelle wanted people to think.
Right.
That's where I believe that money went to. I think it was also Nicole Atkinson that made Chris aware of the finances. He did feel like they were house broke. He had said that to other people. I believe he did say that to her, but when, he's telling her some of the things he disclosed to her, she's not dumb. She was all over finances. She's going, wait a minute, Chris, you're telling me that Shanann tells you, or, you're whatever. I'm sure she can call her Shanann, because Shanann.
Right.
You're telling me that, your wife makes almost as much as you some months, yet your house broke. So how much do you make, Chris? $70,000-$80,000 a year. So if she's making that much and you're still house broke, dude, the numbers don't work out. She's lying to you. She ain't making that much. And I think that was part of his rapidly increasing animosity towards his wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, let me get back to playing this. I'm going to try to stop talking so much.
So in your mind and heart, you can move on.
Like it kind of felt like if I wasn't at home, like I didn't think about it almost. Cause like if I wasn't sleeping on my own, like I think there was at one point, like Nikki had gone to the mountains with friends for like a few days, like into June, first part of July. And then like, that part, obviously I was home. But like from that whole month of July on, it was like,
I just have to say. So he says, there was like one part of it referring to their relationship when Nikki was gone, with her friends that whole time. It was like the end of June, the beginning of July, which was for her birthday, which is July 3rd or 4th, or I think. And now remember, this is part of the problem with their timeline, guys. They both say that they got together during the end of June, but then he's saying during part of their relationship, she was gone for the end of June, beginning of July. Well, they would have just gotten together like a day before.
Right.
So that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. I know how many days in a month.
No, it doesn't, though.
So let's see. Oh, thank you, Molson Man. Oh, thank you. Thank you, darling. Okay. Let's see. Oh, wait. Hold on. Something caught my eye that we need to read. Molson Man says NK's birthday is July 3rd. Well, the way you showed me up in trivia, Molson Man, I'm sure that you are the right fact checker.
That's cute.
Man, he didn't even let your people in chat have a chat.
He's not going to do that anymore, Kelly. We're going to have to make him stay in chat when we play trivia. That's all.
Like, I'm smacking this bitch down. I'm winning trivia.
I know. I barely get the question out.
Oh, he's good. Molson Man is good at trivia. So let's see. Talisa Wright says, thank you for the comment here. In the discovery, there were $22,000 worth of Thrive found in the home. Talisa, thank you. I never caught that detail in discovery, but I am sure.
My goodness.
How much, I am sure. Even the MLM I was involved in last, and I intentionally was doing things a certain way to optimize my earnings for a couple months, and I committed to dropping out, and I did. It's a long story. I've told it before. I have upstairs like makeup and skin products that are going to last the rest of my lifetime. Because to make it work and to get the those things that I wanted, like the Peloton, I had to which is one of the reasons I did it. I had to be selling a certain amount. But the thing is, when you're in an MLM, and some people do it honestly, but I do think most all MLMs are like this. What you buy yourself goes towards your sales volume, so it gets sketchy.
Okay.
It does, yeah. Okay. Oops.
I was never like, I never had all those reminders. I never had, like every time my wife would call me, I would be at Nikki's house.
Oh, while she was in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would walk outside and talk to her, like when I was next to the car or something like that. I would never be at home looking have all these pictures around me, just being in the same bed, seeing my kid in bed, seeing everything that we go for the last 6 years.
And so, did you just want to once and for all get it out in the open?
I just wanted to just tell her how I was feeling at that point in time. Like, I didn't feel like me and her were compatible anymore. Honestly, I didn't feel like that because what was going on with Nikki, it was new. It was new.
Right, absolutely.
Anything that's new always feels better than the old.
Yes.
You were probably bitten by the love bug.
Yeah,
That's how a lot of therapists talk about it. Yeah.
It was just like, I never felt that. I mean, even with new relationships in the past, it always felt different, the first couple weeks. And then, but it just, with someone Nikki felt different. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just like you said, I was more in control, and it was more of maybe more of me coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Christiane always said it always seemed I was more myself around other people, her cousin Cody, Cody came up and visited us for a little bit while we were in Colorado for a little while, and Cody always talked about how Chris is so funny, Chris is Christiane would always just like that with me. Just maybe I always felt nervous about you.
There's only so much oxygen in the room, right? I say this to some people when dominant personalities,
I just always felt nervous.
Now, I believe, this has to do with the behavioral, voice analysis. When he just says, here's an example for you. People can laugh because they're nervous, but laughing sometimes can also, when you're telling a story, it can be a sign of relief. And I think for Chris saying that I always felt nervous around you, and he started laughing, and I think it's obvious. I think he did feel nervous around her. I think he felt that, and I think he felt it strongly enough that even 6 months after he's been sitting in jail, it felt like a relief for him to say that out loud.
Yeah, 'cause otherwise he always, he was awkward, but yeah, he always looked like he was walking around on eggshells. He just had that way about him.
Yeah, he did. So, okay. Yeah, he did. He probably was, but yeah, he also did.
Yeah.
I always felt like I was, never could actually just be myself. Nikki, I was myself all the time. It was just different.
Well, and it seems as though, and again, hard to talk about, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but it also seems, is it accurate to say that sexually you were able to say, Nikki, this is what I would like, this is what I'm into, or blah, 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 and maybe not with Shanann?
No, Nikki just wanted, she wanted what she wanted. She wanted to do it pretty much all the time. I was just like, okay, that's not me.
Okay.
Hear that, John McSmith?
And it was like, hey, something happened to me on the different, but I wasn't the case as far as that way. I wasn't this sexual.
Now, what's interesting here is, he's saying, oh, she just wanted it all the time. And ooh, what happened? As if he didn't want it, or as if there wasn't some kinky side that came out in him or whatever with her. It's interesting, both he and Kessinger, present them, and this is probably normal when, especially this is normal for people. I know this is a fact about how we want the world to see us psychologically, but only to a certain extent. And I think this would be heightened when you're talking to law enforcement, but he and Kessinger are just always constantly, they have this wall up where when they're being interviewed, they are putting up appearances. They are very aware of the light in which they are portraying themselves. They're hyper aware of it beyond what I believe to be, an average or a normal range of doing so. So I just wanted to point this out that Papa B, I'm liking your comments. Papa B says the last picture of SW on the doorbell cam going in the house. She looks super pissed off. I think that she knew what happened Saturday night. I think she did too, for sure, based on, him using the credit card and what was said between she and her friends and what her friends said during their interviews. But do you guys think, I want to know what everyone thinks, do you think that he did that on purpose? Like he used the credit card on purpose so she would be pissed off because maybe he had this planned? And or part two of that question is, do you think that Nicole Kessinger made him or pressured him into using the credit card? Because, well, if it's over with you and your wife, who cares if she sees it? What do you think? What do you think of Curious Rose?
I don't think he wanted to use it.
Yeah,
I don't
you think so?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Because you knew what he would be facing, and he is a man who does not like to put himself in uncomfortable situations, not in the least bit.
He knew that would be an instant confrontation, which is his worst nightmare.
Worst nightmare. So do you think then NK pressured him into using it?
I don't know if he even mentioned it to her. The way he says it is he didn't have any more of the gift card, so he had to use his card, to the point where for a minute he thought about asking her if she'd pay, but he didn't. So,
well, bitch, pay up. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, so I don't even know if he would have even mentioned it to her. I'm not sure on that part.
That's true. But the thing is, so when you do look at his phone records, you see him calling, this, it's a prepaid card company. So
Right.
I had two thoughts about that. Either he was calling to check the balance, which in what you're saying, I think that would be in line with that. Or I was thinking, couldn't he just load money on it? But if they truly didn't have any money, perhaps he couldn't. I'm just kind of working this out in my mind. Yeah.
Right.
Now, Tia Marie says, I don't think he wanted to either. He's a yes man. Exactly. Yeah. And then Anaphylaxis, and welcome Anaphylaxis, darling. How are you? Says, maybe he just stopped caring what SW thought. Yeah. Maybe it sounds like he had growing animosity towards her for whatever reason. Yeah, that. So, and Joan says, Kelly, yes and yes. And then John McSmith, okay, I'm gonna pin you. Says CW ran out of payment options. It's a molehill, so stop it. It's a molehill.
They had no. Was it not on Tuesday where they were discussing him? I think it was Chris and Nicole Atkinson were discussing if her check had been deposited to their account. Like, do you remember? Like they were that bills needed to be paid. I found it so bizarre, but you didn't realize just how in the hole they were.
Right. And that night, who knows if what card it was that got declined, but remember her automatic monthly charge for that Monet, that hair product company, was in fact declined.
That's right.
Now, Ara makes a good point as always and says, Watts the Obsession, remember NK told Watts that he could move money from his paycheck to a debit card, so save money to move out. Yes, I do remember that.
Which makes sense, but when you have a wife that knows exactly what you're bringing in, it was going to be hard until he came clean with her about what was going on.
And then, yes. And in the, I think that Ara is, really important because it shows how focused on money Kessinger was and what she was pressuring him to do. And that's really serious and important. Joan Bradley says there was gift cards left. Lana showed it. That's interesting, Joan. I did not know that.
I didn't either.
Remember, Lana, bye, my ADHD life, darling. Email me back. I want to hear what you think about that. And have a good night, sweetie. I'm glad you're
good night,
here.
ADHD.
And I'm going to get with Lana about that. I want to ask her about that. I vaguely remember her mentioning something, but I don't.
Yeah, that would be interesting to find out. Because doesn't he say, because he didn't have any more? I don't know. He made it seem like there was no more Anadarko cards, right?
Yeah. So if there was, that would tell us a lot.
Yes, it would.
Debbie McLean says he was poking at Shanann. He was being mean. I wouldn't be surprised. That's definitely a possibility. Yeah.
He was starting to feel like he was the one in control of the relationship after how many years he was starting to be the puppet master with her. Right down to like, one minute she's saying like, what did you, how come there's all that money if you're the only one? Oh, salmon and a beer will save your receipt. And then her next text is like, well, what kind of vegetables would you like with dinner tomorrow? Like, he knew he had her. He had her, and she was
just
really
torn and emotional. Yeah.
Desperate. She was desperate to hold on to it. Desperate.
Aww, she was.
Yeah, it's sad. That's sad.
It is. So then Jennifer says, I think it's the second one, Kelly. I think she made him use it for her to see and for them to get into a fight that night for her to leave him. I think that's very much along the lines of what my best guess is. Yeah.
I mean, if she got an alert about the credit card, wouldn't he get an alert about it too? I mean, no, like I'm in. I don't know how they had it set up, but
yeah,
Jesus, what a dodo.
Yeah. Oh wait, so let's see. Joan is asking. I know he is a dodo. So, Joan says, "At Rose, did he say that there was no money?"
No, she said he did say.
There was no money, but he lies.
Yes, he's a liar. Big fat liar.
Big fat liar face. Okay, let's get back to the audio.
It was me. I was just one myself. I could just not think about what I was going to say or plan what I was going to say or not, say something stupid or something.
Right.
A little bit of freedom.
Can I ask you something about that morning that you had sex with Shanann? Did you feel at all like maybe you were kind of cheating on Nikki by doing that?
I felt strange. I felt like, the first time I was with Nikki, I felt weird. First time,
Sure.
And then the last time I was with Shanann, I felt totally strange. I was like, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I had become. I felt like I become people I see on TV, and that did not feel right with me. Like I didn't know what had happened to me. So Nikki even asked me like, have you done this before? Have you go straight away? I'm like, I've never even thought about it. It's like, what's different? It's like.
Now, I'm just going to point out really quick something that I noticed really strongly here, and I don't know what to think about it, but notice how when his voice changes when he starts talking about Nikki, as he calls her, he seems more normal, conversational, easygoing, less stressed, and relaxed every single time, even if it's like a weird thing for him to be telling them.
It's still his comfort.
Yeah, it's definitely still his comfort. Yeah.
I guess it's just you that's different because I've just never actually I've seen girls smile at me before, never done anything about it. With her, it was just like it's like she had a leash on me and she tugged me away. As soon as she walked, I'm like, heck, what's going on? So,
Well, and Tammy brings up a very good point. I wonder if that last time with Shanann having sex had somewhat of a role in you thinking,
like a trigger.
I got to do something. I got to say something. We got to have a talk. Something's got to change. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I felt like it was like maybe like a trigger point or something like you hit the push button on a bomb and it just blows up.
Right.
Something in my head was just like something. It's like something was hurting. It's like I had to say something.
Okay. So then, exactly what did you say and what happened?
Interesting how he says, it's like something. He's used the reference of exploding or an explosion many times. This is one example. When is it just a reference, an analogy for how he felt inside, or was something having to do with an explosion, which, is a theory I have historically not bought into, but more and more recently, as you guys have shown me things, I don't discount it. Or was the idea of an explosion on his mind?
Yeah, I've never really given the explosion too much. I always thought it was a bit much, but the more we talk about different things, I think everything needs to be discussed. I don't think anyone's opinions or ideas should just, be taken lightly. I respect everybody's ideas. So it's, to me, I've been thinking about it a little bit more.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. All right.
So when I woke her up and it's like, hey, we just gotta talk. And I told her, cancel the trip to Aspen.
Hold it. This is the part where I have video to go along with this. Just 1 second. I'm going to switch here. All right. Just so you guys have something to look at other than our faces. Well, not Curious Rose's face. That's not what she looks
And
like.
Debbie McLean makes a good point too.
She
That there
always
was,
does.
Did you see Debbie's? If you want to put that
Go
up,
ahead,
I
read
think it's
it.
a good one. Yeah.
What did she say?
She said there was money in the bank. Because he withdrew $100 from the ATM and he had to pay the babysitter that night. So there was money.
That's right. That's right, girl. She's good, man. Debbie is good.
Good point,
Debbie,
Deb.
you're good.
Yeah, good point, Debbie. Very good point.
She always brings a good point. All right, so here we go. I'll keep playing this. Now I'm going to do. Whoops, that's not what I want to share. I want to share this. Whoops. Hold it, darling. Here.
It's okay.
I just keep pressing the wrong things here. There we go. Do that. Go over here and then get you up here with me. No, not like that. Like this.
I hate the StreamYard screen when you're trying to figure it out.
Just craziness.
It
okay,
is.
Here.
Okay.
Watt's confession only happened in his third confession. When
Sorry, it's just like a minute intro,
Special
I think.
Agent Graham
Okay.
Coker and Detective Dave Baumhover went to Dodge Correctional Facility to interview Chris Watts once again in an unprecedented interview after he was already in prison serving his 5+ consecutive life sentences.
Exactly what did he say? What happened?
So then I woke her up. Okay, we just gotta talk. Kind of like over. I'll feel I will work, but I don't wanna ask them for sure that we
Oh,
go to we post on up to college.
good year ago, man.
Got out and there. And I was like, I remember I even said, can we like, just to get away from like this house?
Oh,
That like I'm not sure if that was like getting part of the conversation or not.
So I just think that's interesting. I don't know what to make of it when he says, could we just go to like I just some place that's close by. I can't remember. He just said it, some city close by. Just to get away from this house. I mean, he was really feeling, I don't know. What do you think about that, Rose?
I couldn't hear that part. I'm sorry. So
Let's go back a minute here.
Yeah.
I'll go back just a few seconds.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
That conversation. This house.
oh.
Like, can we cancel that? Can we like do something like? From what I remember, I even said, can we move to Brighton just to get away from like this house?
Oh,
Oh, he's like, can we move to Brighton just to get away from this house? I think that, the thing with the house was him being newly aware because his mistress let him know about the financial.
Yeah, it was a sign of his economic failure.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And the impending stress. I mean, I don't think he really knew they were headed towards another bankruptcy until he started putting the pieces together when his girlfriend told him.
And he was getting the mail. She was away for the summer. He started to see more and more of what their life was really like.
Really big mirror put in front of him.
Yeah.
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 But like, I'm not sure if that was like in the beginning when the end part of the conversation or whatnot. That conversation was so many different ways. Like they had gone from like staying together to not staying together to just like all of the above.
okay. So this is happening.
I don't think that happened. And the way he says it,
Mm-mm.
the conversation went in so many different ways. And this was, something that when I was listening to this a few times and doing like a voice analysis sketch where you're just kind of measuring these various things.
Yeah.
I should put that up but anyway, but just the way he's talking about it, and the conversation went so many different ways, from staying together to break, whatever.
Yeah, he's distracted, he's contradicting, he's like manufacturing, he's making me dizzy.
Exactly. He doesn't know which story to tell because there is no story to tell.
There's no story, there's a lot of lies, and it's all catching up.
Yeah.
An hour or what?
Definitely not more than that. I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think.
Are you crying? Is she crying?
It's back and forth. It's like, she's got mascara. She didn't wash her face when she got home. She had makeup on, so mascara is running.
So this part about the mascara running down her face, I think, is important too. Sorry, I'm stopping like every 2 seconds, but Tammy says, "Are you crying? Is she crying?" And he says a couple things like, "Oh yes," it was all over the place, and yes, and then he's talking about her, and I think that when he's talking about the mascara running down her face, she didn't take her makeup off. The way he's saying that to me indicates that he's being honest about that. I think that he does have a vivid image of her mascara running down her face. I think that personally, I just see it going one of two ways. Something happened when she got home and she was hysterical and there was mascara running down her face.
Yeah.
Or he remembers the mascara running down her face because after she was, strangulated, her eyes, were watering and, sorry, it's, not good stuff.
I think she went to bed crying.
He was not crying. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think he was crying.
No, my God, no. That is funny for him to even say that.
Yeah, it was nothing about that conversation. I just wish I could take all of that. Just the holding back everything.
So when did it turn?
As far as that conversation, just at the end when I was telling her, like, I told her I didn't love her anymore. That's what happened.
What happened?
She didn't get off her.
Now, this, guys, is really quick. This is the part based on how he's talking and the level of emotion you can hear coming out of his voice based on the ways that you can measure it. This is where I think he is telling the truth and he starts to be truthful. Towards the end of the conversation, of course, it was towards the end of anything he said to her because it was just before the end of her life. What was really happening, I don't think we really know. I think he's being honest about this part. And I think this is where things got really intense for whatever reason. And this is how it goes.
Right.
Did you say she said something like that you were hurting the baby or something?
That was before that. Because when I was straddling her, it was kind of like around her waist type deal.
Why did you get on her like that?
I just when we got on the bed. That's just when we got on.
Is that so she would listen to you?
I felt like she could probably listen to me just laying beside her, but I got on top of her. Every time I think about it, I'm just like,
right,
because
because
I know I was going to do that before I got on top of her.
Really? That's an interesting thought, Chris. You don't know if you knew.
Just like, everything that happened that morning, I don't know, like, I try to go back in my head. I'm just like, I didn't want to do this, but I did it.
Please.
So, guys, listen here. This whole section that he's about to go into, where he's saying, did I know I was going to do this beforehand? I didn't want to do this, but I did it. I feel like two things are happening. First of all, he's deflecting blame from himself, but I think there's also something real there based on his voice quality and how he's telling the story. I think when he says, did I know I was going to do this beforehand? Like the idea or the plan or whatever was presented to him. It was put in his mind beforehand, but did he know if he could go through with it or if it was really going to happen? That's very strongly how I read that.
I do too. I definitely think it was something brought to him, possibly presented to him without him making any logical yes or no, I'm definitely going to do it. I agree. I think it was presented, and that morning things happen the way they happen. We clearly see everything wasn't as, planned out as perfect. There's a sheet left in the field. The grave was a shallow, it wasn't thought out the way you would think it would be had he been planning ahead of time, in my mind. I don't know.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Everything was kind of like,
Felt like you had to.
it just felt like it was, I don't even want to say it felt like I had to. It just felt like there was already something in my mind that I wasn't planning that I was going to do it. And I woke up that morning, it was going to happen, and I had no control of it.
You never thought about it before?
It was just like, I don't want, when, like in the sentencing hearing, that prosecutor said it takes 2 to 4 minutes, something like that to happen. Like, why can't I just let go? That's interesting. I just let
Was
go.
it feeling like it was in motion and you just couldn't stop it?
Yeah, it was just like, I don't even want to know what she saw when she looked back at me. Honestly.
Did you look at her? What was she doing?
No, first of all, be nice in chat. Don't chase people away, John McSmith.
No.
Tia Maria, if you're leaving because you have to go to bed, good night, darling. John. So what do you guys think about that? I'm gonna go back a few seconds. What do you think about all this?
I like Molson's comment about what that's right. Why did he tell Cato, though, that the night before he knew it was the last time he'd be tucking his babies in?
He allegedly told Cato.
Allegedly. Yeah.
We got
That's another, I forgot about that totally.
But doesn't he say, I feel as though he says something similar to that I'm not sure, but that's a good point though. Let's listen to this again. What do you guys think about this?
That's interesting. I just let
Was
go.
it feeling like it was in motion and you just couldn't stop it?
Yeah, it was just like, I don't even want to know what she saw when she looked back at me. Honestly.
Did you look at her? What was she doing?
I'm sorry, I got to go back a little farther. I think there was something I missed that I wanted
Okay.
you guys.
Why do you think she wasn't fighting?
What's going to happen, and I had no control of it.
I had no
You never
control.
thought about it before?
It was just like, I don't want, when, like in the sentencing hearing, that prosecutor said it takes 2 to 4 minutes, something like that to happen. Like, why can't I just let go? That's interesting. I just let
Was
go.
it feeling like it was in motion and you just couldn't stop it?
Yeah, it was just like, I don't even want to know what she saw when she looked back at me. Honestly.
Did you look at her? What was she doing? Why do you think she wasn't fighting?
Maybe she was praying. Maybe she was just. I read the Bible. It said, where the scripture says, "Don't forgive these people for they do not." She,
Now that why in the Bible bring it into a why if she's being murdered, she can feel the life draining away from her body if she became conscious during that time. Why would she be praying for the person or people who are taking her life away? That makes no sense. And what do you guys think about? No, just his language leading up to that somebody was making me do it. It was like, this is I don't know. There's something in this.
Yeah.
Jailhouse religion. Welcome, Jolene Jordan. Definitely jailhouse religion. And Elizabeth G says he's just reinventing himself as a man of God. Yeah, it definitely is.
Oh, yeah. And start reading scripture and just, out of nowhere, scripture is like a new man.
Yeah. And Joan says, I know Joan feels this way, says he planned it. He wrote that letter at his parents and was daydreaming about it. How, yeah.
Yeah, that letter was weird.
That was a weird letter. Yeah. All right, I'm going to start playing this again.
when you guys told me take off your shirt and check for defensive wounds, and there wasn't going to be any. I don't know Why?
So she didn't grab. Could she grab your arms, or were her arms pinned down, or?
Not that I remember. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think like I moved to where my knees were around her arms or anything. It was just kind of like when I got on top of her, we started talking. That was it. It's kind of like in my head, or like in the back of my head, that was going to happen, and just like at the end of the conversation, it was just like, that's what happened. I just wish I could have let go.
Did it seem like it was that long, 2 to 4 minutes? How long did it seem for you?
Almost kind of felt like it was longer almost, because it felt like time was standing still. It's kind of like I just saw my life just disappearing before my eyes, but I couldn't let go. It was like somebody else, like if you picture somebody else around you, holding your hands, holding you, keep you from not letting go.
I just have such a problem with that. He's saying, it was like in my mind, I just wish I stopped it, but I couldn't. If you can like imagine someone around you holding your hands, I just couldn't let go. I feel like prior to that, I don't know. It's like, I feel like prior to that, the way he was talking and also just my feeling on it, he was being truthful. I don't think that as far as his voice inflection and all of those measurable voice qualities, that really changed. So I feel like there is some truth in that. I don't literally think someone had their arms around him, but what do you guys think about that? What do you think, Rose?
I think it's more of what was presented and in his head, not someone with their arms around him or behind him saying, do it. I mean, he did it. He does have a way of being able to, no matter what he's talking about, stay the same level, which is very creepy and eerie, but he does it with ease.
He does. Yeah, he does. Yeah. Jolene asked, where do you guys think NK went to live? I'd love to, if anyone has an answer to that, I'd love to know.
Yeah, I know.
Hi, Heather White. Welcome to the chat. Yeah, so she just says he's a POS, killing his children. Yeah, he's definitely a POS. Let's see.
Yeah, Joan at Kelly. Remember Chris and his sister regretting their talk at his parents' back porch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember them talking about, or wishing they can go back to that moment. So you wonder what the discussion was about. Was he talking to Jamie about, I want to leave her, I have a girlfriend? Things we'll probably never know.
Probably not. Yeah, it's a good point though.
Mm-hmm.
SM, welcome. Nice to have you in chat. SM says, I only have one contact in. If she was worried about him hurting the baby when he was straddling her, does he really want people to believe that she wouldn't fight back? Exactly. If he was choking her, what? Yeah. I know what it was like when I was pregnant with my son. All of a sudden, my sense of my personal space really expanded. And don't get within 5 feet of me because I will punch you.
Right, yeah, pillows on each side of you.
Yeah. And that is, it was like her personality was to be a fighter, and certainly a pregnant woman. I mean, I see it in the bunnies that I farm. When the only time I've ever been bitten by a female rabbit is when I didn't know they were pregnant and they were hungry, or I went to pick them up and they don't want to eat. They're just like, do not. I'm pregnant. These babies.
Oh, when they're pregnant. Oh, okay. They don't like to be picked up when they're. Oh, okay.
Oh, no, or they really want to just. Or if they get around their babies, they bug out.
Sure.
The motherly instinct is strong.
It's strong. It's strong. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jennifer says, NK probably said something along the lines of, if they are still in your life, then I can't be in yours, or something like that. I think, the 111-minute phone call the night before, just hours, moments before Shanann arrived home, it ended right at the time Shanann was supposed to be home. But, Chris had received a text message from her while he was on the call saying that her flight was going to be late. I think that is what that call was all about, if not more to that. And, there are people who have talked to Chris Watt's mother who say that, and some of them I believe very much, that he was given a very clear ultimatum that evening. Yeah.
Okay, but
all right.
so, but what I heard was that his response was he was going to pick his family. What did you hear?
That's what I heard too.
Yeah. Okay. Which so that obviously that's not the case, or something changed along the lines. Right. Who knows?
Well, remember, any story he'd be telling his mother would be after the fact,
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Since we know that based on phone records, we know they didn't talk that night. It's not like he called his mom and was like, "Hey, mom, listen to what just happened. Holy cow!"
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. So, okay, I'm gonna keep playing this.
At some point, there was a statement about rage. Do you feel like you're in a rage at that point?
That's the only way I can describe it, honestly. Like a snap, something, I know. I guess my attorney had said like some, strangulation is more of like a, passionate type thing. I'm just like, I don't know how that can be passionate.
It's just intimate because you're right in there,
Yeah.
using your own hands. It's a lot different than someone standing across the room and you shooting them or something like that. So
she's definitely the bad cop in the interview.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I do too. She says it as it is.
There was a lot of things in your life that were like that, right? Where you're just like, maybe felt out of control, or maybe felt like, I don't know why I couldn't take a step back, or, like even when you said, when your buddy was like, let's go to the football game, you wanted to say yes.
I wanted to. Like, I'd never been in a football game since North Carolina, so I was just like, yeah, sure. But I wanted to say that.
Yeah.
I wanted to just text me, hey, here's it fell through, can't go. Yeah.
So, then what?
After, Shanann was like, once that was, when she was gone, I was just like, I didn't know what was going on. It's like, it was like a traumatic, I don't know what you call it, traumatic event type, and everything, and like, I was shaking. I didn't know what had happened. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I had done. I still wasn't in that right state of mind. I don't think like I was in control of what I could think or what I could do at that point in time. Like most people say, like, why don't you just call 911?
So I believe what he's saying here, but I also believe that he's, once again, deflecting responsibility from himself, saying I wasn't in control of what I could say or do,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're in that situation, you don't know what you would have done. It's easy to play Monday morning quarterback.
mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
Like I said, if somebody shoots somebody, you don't know what they was going to do in mind at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you'd have done.
So what happened next? Is that what happened? Bella came in. What she said?
Wow.
Did she hear something? Is that what she?
Obviously, I think.
Okay.
Wait a minute, hold it. I got to go back a second there. Hold it. I got to.
I said if somebody shoots somebody, you don't know what they're going to do in mind at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you'd have done.
So what happened next? Is that what happened? Bella came in. What she said?
Wow.
Did she hear something? Is that what she?
Obviously, I think.
Okay. What'd you tell me?
I don't feel good.
And then, did that happen with Bella right in that room?
Not.
What happened?
She walked in as she talking about she was sleeping.
Did you take her back to her room?
But she ran in that sheet. Found it's like
Okay. And what?
carried her downstairs. Backed my truck up.
At that point, were the girls still there? Okay. So then she lands in the truck. Then went back to the house.
Got everybody back in the truck.
Was Bella first or was Cece first?
In the truck.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So Shanann was first, and then Bella was next. Was Bella alive when you guys got in the truck? Oh, okay. What happened?
Rolled back up.
Okay.
I don't really want to talk on this part, honestly.
I know this part's really intense, guys. I'm sorry. And it's going to get more intense. I'm just warning you if you don't want to hear. It's hard to listen to. Okay. I'm just going to say that. Ara says he killed Shanann in Cece's room, correct? Why do some people believe she was murdered in their master bedroom? So, Ara, I believe she was murdered in their master bedroom. Now, guys, if I'm wrong, correct me. I think that his version of what this first so-called confession that was a partial confession and a false confession
Right.
was that I saw Shanann doing whatever, and then I did it to her. And in that version, I believe that it placed him in Cece's room.
Yeah. That is how he went. That's why he said
Okay.
that. Because she was smothering.
Wait, yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's not-
okay, so wait. So then I'm sorry. Ara says in the discovery it states that he murdered her in Cece's room. Ara, so are you sure it's not a supplemental report from the discovery that was based on what he said, based on that first partial false confession? Because I mean that's important.
Yeah, that is.
Let's just see if there's, let's see. Well, hold it, John. So John says CW was never charged with premeditation, so you can believe it, but obviously, but he was charged with first degree murder with deliberation, which is synonymous with premeditation. Correct?
Yeah, who said? Oh, John.
Yeah.
Our John.
Or John. Yeah. So, I mean, it was first degree murder with deliberation, based on what state you're in, what jurisdiction you're in, the verbiage is going to be different. But my pretty certain understanding is deliberation is premeditation. Because premeditation in the states that use premeditation, they will say, premeditation doesn't need to be a day, a week, months of planning. It can be, and I remember the classes I did take in law school, this was something big that was focused on in criminal law. It can be moments of forethought will account for deliberation.
Right.
Yeah. So Jolene Jordan, what are you saying? The dogs picked up a spot? Do you mean in the basement? I'd be interested to know what you mean about that. And Ari, yeah, if you can come back with a page number, that would be awesome, because that would be something I missed, and I'd like to look into
that would
that.
be great. I think about the dogs. I think when we were talking about with Bella's room, remember the dog barked and there was a book and a rock under the bed, and Jane said, "Oh, that's what he's barking at."
Yeah, that's right. That did happen. Yep, that's right. Papa B says good thought. Maybe she woke him up and told him to get out of bed and go sleep on the couch again. Yeah, maybe. Or just go in your own freaking bedroom in the basement, you weirdo.
Go back to your dungeon.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna keep playing this. So again, guys, I just want to say this is the part of the confession that, in my opinion, is hardest to hear. Oh, thanks, John McSmith. We're good.
Yes. Major
So,
trigger. Major triggers.
yeah, major.
Mm.
Those are my kids. This is my baby. I have to talk to him every night. I have to see how this can happen. Every time I see pictures of them, I don't know how this could happen. Being a dad was the best part of my life. I took it all away.
I think that's the hardest part for us, Chris, is we see those videos, we see that love that you had for your girls. Like, it's obvious to us, and even to us, it's hard for us to understand how a dad who's given piggyback rides and, you know, making snacks and watching princess movies and those kinds of things, how you get to that point, you
I
know?
don't know. Just, like I said, it was just like something else was controlling me that day. I had no control over what I was like to fight back.
Yeah.
Like when that prosecutor said it felt a bitter tongue, like repeatedly, I just wanted to just bang my head up against the wall.
I hope you want to do a lot more than that.
So you put Cheyenne in the truck, and then you put the two girls in the truck? Were they just sitting in their car seats, or I guess they didn't probably have car seats in your truck, did they?
No, they was sitting in the back with the like in that bench and
So Cheyenne was back there too? Is that
on the
right?
floor.
What did they say about Cheyenne being on the floor?
Mommy, okay?
What'd you tell them?
She'll be fine.
Did you have their stuff with them, with their toys and their blankets and stuff?
They had something with them that they carried. One of them, I think, had CC and Bella had like a blanket or something with them,
Mm-hmm.
like a pink blanket or.
What about the dog? I think one of them had a dog, right? That talked or dog.
Yeah, yeah, one of them had like a little barking dog.
Was that with you too? Do you know?
I think it was.
Guys, I'm sorry to stop here, but I really don't want to forget to ask this question. Lauren, welcome, Lauren, by the way. Lauren is saying to Molson Man that might explain the supposed three flights of stairs climbed. I messed that up. What are you guys talking about? Because I am always trying to explain those steps. Oh, okay. So Lauren says, I read a book about the case. I have not read this book. I'm going to definitely read it probably like tomorrow. That detailed what they believed happened, and it all went down in the basement. I have some thoughts on that too. With these hands, maybe the title, I think I can check. And then she provides it later. So, okay.
Thanks, Lauren. I never heard of that.
Yeah, and can you tell us what else they say, Lauren? And then Kimberly Davis, welcome, Kimberly, says, honestly, my gut feeling is that he never acted alone. His girlfriend, who changed her story so many times, I think was there. I think so too. She was part of killing the kids, I think, and she works with him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Talisa. They ignored the dogs a lot of places. They did.
Molson said it's called Blood and Marriage by Kathleen Hudson. Oh, thanks, Molson.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, all right. I'm going to keep playing this. I don't want to interrupt that point, but I just need to know. Okay.
Okay.
It's hard to remember. Like if they had like the big blanket, small blanket.
So I think I saw on the video that you put a gas can or something in the back of your truck. Is that right? Did you have different plans when you put that in there?
I don't know what was going through my head. I felt like maybe I could just get rid of myself at the same time if I was doing all this.
He was never thinking of that.
About that?
What'd you think about that?
I didn't feel like I deserved to live after what had happened.
Was there any thought to the whole family going away that day, to include you?
After everything happened, I just definitely thought.
Yeah. See, it's interesting to me. We had all kind of wondered if there was a point when you were all together, if you were all going to pass together. That to me makes sense, because that's, even though it sounds crazy, that's what a family man does, right?
Family man doesn't do what he did.
No, I know. I guess what I mean is, it seems like,
I'm pretty sure that Watts says there, a family man doesn't do what he did. I've listened to it many times. The transcript says he. I hear he. I heard he again. I heard
Yeah, he
again.
does say that.
So that, he says, he doesn't say a family man doesn't do what I did. He says a family man doesn't do what he did. Now, I haven't heard anyone point that out before. Maybe it have been pointed out. I don't want to start some conspiracy theory saying that he's talking about a different he other than himself. I take that as a sign to be him disassociating at some point. And also,
Right.
again, not blaming himself. Yeah. But, right.
you guys were going to be together forever in that way. Is that maybe what was going through your head?
Honestly, I just felt like I didn't deserve to live.
Yeah.
And it was like, whatever judgment I was going to come upon myself, I just didn't deserve to be on this earth anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
So what made you not do that? Do you think?
I don't know if it was just more of like because with the site, maybe it was just more of like, I would have hurt more people than just me and everybody else. I know there's other people out there, not like at the site, but other people like maybe out in the area. Like, I didn't want something like on the site to catch fire and blow up, and then other people around would get hurt in the same.
So you were thinking initially about starting a fire out there or an explosion or something, or?
Just, no, not for that. Just like maybe I could just take care of myself and not like that.
Wow.
Gasoline, that's the only thing you do. I mean, I don't have a gun. I don't have anything like that. It's not like you just commit suicide that way. But
So
it's
just
just
to blow yourself up?
like, I mean, it was just, I wasn't thinking. Yeah.
Okay, I've just got to bring this up. So when Tammy Lee asks him about the gas can again, now Tammy Lee is very, very suspicious about this gas can because Tammy Lee does not pursue many topics in this interview, but she brings up the gas can not once, not twice, but 3 times, she herself. Now, when she asks him, was there an intention to blow the place up, blow the place up or something like that? The way he responds, what I hear in his voice, it'd be interesting to do an actual electronic voice meter on this. I hear a change in his tone and I hear anger. So I'm just going to go back so you can just hear that again and see what you think.
Okay.
I know there's other people out there, not like at the site, but other people like maybe out in the area.
I can't remember if it's before that or not, but I'm just going to go here.
So what made you not do that? Do you think?
I don't know if it was just more of like because with the site, maybe it was just more of like, I would have hurt more people than just me and everybody else. I know there's other people out there, not like at the site, but other people like maybe out in the area. Like, I didn't want something like on the site to catch fire and blow up, and and then other people around would get hurt. Insane.
So you were thinking initially about starting a fire out there or an explosion or something?
Here.
Or
Just, no, not for that. Just like maybe I could just take care of myself.
I don't believe that at all.
Yeah,
No.
that's the only thing to do with it.
What do
No,
you, Rose, what do you think about
that
that?
is not at all.
No. No. It's
You're bringing a gas can, but not for there, but maybe to take care of yourself.
and also the change in his voice when he responds to those questions that pertaining to that, and the logic behind it, right?
Yeah, and almost like she's crazy for even asking that. No, like he's got that cockiness about him too.
Yeah. That does not come out very much in this interview, but he definitely had.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't have a gun. I don't have anything like that. It's not like commit suicide that way. But it's
So
just
just to blow yourself up.
I mean, it was just. I wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, I don't have weapons. I've never hunted before in my life. I don't know what. I mean, nothing was right that morning.
yeah. I remember you kept telling me that. You kept saying, I didn't know what I was doing, Tammy. I didn't know. Like,
Yeah, when you asked
I
about
remember,
the sheet, like, what were you doing? Like, I don't know what I was doing.
yeah. I think you were just like in automatic mode, or it seemed like. So did you drive straight out there? So what were you thinking on the way out there?
It's kind of like what I'm doing right now. I'm just like, nervous, shaking, not knowing, like, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, my life has completely changed. I don't know, like, what's happening. Like, honestly, like, I try to picture that whole ride. Like, it's like 45 minutes to an hour ride out there. And it's just like, couldn't I have, like, saved my girl's life? Couldn't I have done something? Why did I do it? I don't know.
Right.
Like, this is my flesh and blood. This is like what I wanted all my life, was to be a dad, just to have kids, and they love me, all that, and it just nothing made sense.
Right.
Like the oil tank, nothing made sense. I'm just like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. So what happened when you got out there?
Took Shanann out just to a place off to the site.
Mm-hmm.
Then
What were the girls doing when you were doing that?
just simply in the truck.
And then what happened after that?
CC was first. She did have a blanket. She had a blue blanket. A Yankee blanket.
So was she alive when she went into the oil tank? No.
I put the blanket over her head.
And that's how she passed. Good breathe.
I put the blanket over her head. I didn't want to. No. I strangled her right there in the back seat.
Okay.
What was Bella doing?
Beside her.
Did she understand? Did she know what was going on?
She didn't say anything.
And then the same for Bella. Just without a blanket.
With the blanket.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look. Like every time I closed my eyes, I just hear her saying, "Daddy, no," and that was it.
That's what Bella said.
I hear that every day.
You're like, sorry, man.
Sorry doesn't take anything back.
I know. Is it possible that in your mind you didn't want them to suffer throughout their life? Was this like a mercy thing?
I mean, you can say that like after the fact, but it was just like,
You didn't feel like that during it.
I just didn't. I felt like it was just like an anger with Shanann, with everything that I was just taking it out on everybody that was in front of me that morning.
Yeah.
I mean, kids growing up without their parents, depending on what grandparents or whoever they grew up with, seemed to be fine. But it was just like, it was an anger thing. It was just like.
And what were you so angry at Shanann about? Like, if you could pinpoint it.
Nothing that makes anybody want to do this. I mean, you could be angry at your spouse like your whole life, but you should never have done anything like this. You should never let it get to that point.
Okay, so that's the end of what we're going to listen to this evening. Let's see. So, you know, and I'd like to hear what you think of Curious Rose. And, you know, if you guys like going through this content, let us know. We can continue to do it. We have other things in the works and other ideas too, but just give some feedback. You know, in summary, for that interview, you know, when you break down what he's saying, using logic, using your gut instinct, and then using some measurable voice indicators, this is what I gather. What stands out to me is when he talks about NK throughout the interview and during this segment, his voice changes, he becomes relaxed, he becomes at ease, he doesn't sound stressed. It's almost like he goes to this place where he's not in prison. It's very bizarre to me. What does that mean? It could mean a lot of things. I'm not going to even go into that now because I don't really know. I can only speculate. Now, when he is talking about what happens to Shanann, there are a ton of indicators of clear deception and dishonesty based on the measurements in his voice quality. I have no idea what really happened. I don't know. I don't think anyone really does. But also the way that he pushes off any kind of blame, saying, you know, somebody else was making me do it, like somebody had their hands around me. And I don't know how to read it. I have at different times read it one of two ways. The man just is trying to deflect blame however he can. More so, I don't think that he means those things literally. I think he's describing some kind of influence over him.
Yes.
That was so profound, it was almost like somebody was holding his hands, or, you know, that's how I read it. And then when he gets to the part where he talks about the children, I first want to point out how he barely talks about Celeste until he's really pushed to. But when he is talking about Bella and the children in general, the way he's telling the story, the emotion in his voice, whether he did it himself or he watched someone else do it, I believe all of that is very, very real. I think that story was pulled out of memory rather than imagination, and that's just how I see it. What do you think of Curious Rose?
When he talks about the children?
Yeah.
I think that's about the only time he seems real.
Right, yeah.
He seems mad at Shanann. But he seems the most relaxed. He sounds the most relaxed we've ever heard him almost. It's creepy to say that. I mean, he's in jail for the rest of his life, but he sounds like almost at peace.
You mean throughout, or when he's talking about the children?
Just the interview in general. I just feel like he's not.
He has nothing to lose.
Right. He's just going to say it, and he doesn't seem like as nervous as he usually is. Like it is what it is. He found God. He's still going to deflect and distract and blame others, and not take his side of it's his what he did, but saying something around me. No, nothing was. Something might have been in your head. You might have been listening to someone for how many weeks you were together with this new person or whoever else, that you were almost like, cult like brainwashed. Not that
Yeah.
I'm saying he was, but just that type of mindset.
Yeah, I think so. I do agree with that. Oh my gosh.
So many good
Oh,
questions. I couldn't
thank you,
even
John.
keep up in chat.
Oh, I know. Hi, Gwendolyn Karen. Welcome, my friend. How are you? So Gwendolyn Karen says, and once again, we hear that Cece was thirsty. Did that contribute to his anger? Remembering the empty water bottles from, oh my God. I know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
That's,
that, you know how he doesn't mention her. It is, she's like a, you know, just like a forgotten thought. It's so sad.
yeah.
It
And,
is
you know,
it's such a trigger for us, and we can talk about it, and we, you know, we have backgrounds in this, and it's a trigger. I can't imagine for others. It's hard. Thank you everyone who's just
hard.
so good in this chat to be able to talk like this.
Yeah.
This is rough.
It's very rough. And, you know, I share with you my opinion about why he talks so little about Celeste. Well, I kind of had two thoughts on it. One, I just think that he had a really special relationship with Celeste. I think it's just my opinion. That's the most heartbreaking part of this for him. But I think,
Yeah. I mean, he did.
I think that she
would say
I
that.
don't think she was with full consciousness. Yeah.
I don't either.
I think she was conscious during this last part.
Oh, I hate to think of that, but that's. I feel she feels she was definitely, however she woke up, was cognitively impaired, almost like a, and I don't, trigger warning, but almost like a drooling child. You know, possibly not even walking, crawling, or, you know, you don't know, but I just feel she was definitely damaged.
Yeah, I think so.
God
too.
bless her. I'm sorry to say it like that. I don't mean to be harsh. I just don't believe she was running around like he said, like, oh, it was crazy inside. Maybe Bella was frantic because Bella was such an old soul that took everything in, and she was smart beyond years.
Yeah.
Right. But
and Bella also, you know, she did freak out a lot. You know, she was uncomfortable.
She was a nervous kid.
And and that's just so I think that the chaos, I think you're right, Rose. I think the chaos was, you know, generated from Bella.
Yeah. A little soul, God rest it. Oh,
I know. Yeah, no one is a Chris expert. That's right.
No. I mean, who wants to be? I mean, we're here to talk about it with everyone, but Jesus, not even the officials are experts on Chris Watts.
Yeah. Oh, huh. That yes, Lauren saying she saw a video recently of Shanann's Amazon baby registry. I'd actually never seen that. That's
it was up forever. I wonder. Oh, I hope. Like, I'm talking last summer, it was still up. It was very.
Wow.
It was very sad.
Wow.
So sad. Because you think about being so excited to be pregnant, right? And you're having to know you're having your first boy. I don't know. I mean, I only have a son, but I just remember how exciting it was to go and do that registry and all. You know, you have such plans, the plans for the future, and they could be, you know, you want your child to grow up and be president if they, well, whatever they want, but you just have such big plans. You're so hopeful.
Yeah, and totally. That's heartbreaking.
That would be. Ugh, I hope it's not up anymore, but it was last year. I found it was just disturbing.
That I'm sure that would be hard to look at. Ara says, and you guys take this. I understand what she's saying. Take this the right way. Ara says, I think he loved his children the same way he loved his lawn. He took care of it, but the emotional attachment wasn't completely there.
Yeah, he loved his. I don't know. I mean, whatever he had to Google, how does it feel to be in love? This is a man that had to Google, how does it feel to be in love? You're a grown man with a wife, 2 children, 1 on the way, and you don't know what it feels like.
Yeah, or when someone says "I love you," or that, which is such a weird thing.
So weird.
It's such a weird thing.
It's just
like, he definitely was not on the same emotional level as a normal, healthy adult.
Yeah, for as much as he could love whatever in his mind he thought he could love as much as he could love his daughters is I think what he gave them, though. He didn't like nurturing them by making sure they were fed, bathing them, putting their lotion in on at night, putting their pajamas on, reading the story, doing all those robotic moves that makes
All the things
in
he was
his
told
mind
to do, just like
a
always.
good parent. Right. Just that being a good dad.
Yeah.
This is what I'm supposed to do.
Is a no. Anaphylaxis says the baby registry is still up.
Yuck. Yuck.
Wow.
Yuck. Yuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Joe says he has, do you have a 401k? Turning in his head. And he was like,
Yeah.
yeah. And he
Who
was
even
like,
asked
yeah.
that?
Do you have a 401k?
Like,
and he was like, yeah. Yeah. I
Do
know.
you have a 401k?
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to pin
She's
that.
something else. She was all about money. I mean, I'm
And he
the
was
kind
like,
of girl that goes after, the musicians that I'll be like, do you have a job? Not do you have a 401k. I'm more like, hey, you got a job? Whereas
Do a
she was
JOB.
so much, she was all about, well, she bragged
That's
about
really
how she was so
funny.
good with her, she bragged about how good she was with her money. Everything was so, she had everything in order and, her finances and then her apartment.
Bed
Like,
bugs, you know?
ugh, yuck.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Edward says, so did Chris have the idea in his head at the time he could eliminate his whole family, then simply pick up with NK as if nobody would notice anything missing? It makes no rational sense. I don't have an answer to that because whatever was going on in his head, whatever really happened, whether or not others or someone else was involved, there was a huge element of disconnection with reality.
Yeah. Yes. That's a good way of putting it.
Well, John McSmith says NK didn't need Watts' money. Watts didn't have money. I think that she was envisioning that, she could, this is just my opinion, turn things around and make it happen. So Watts would have money because he did have earning potential. He didn't have money due to spending in the household, interesting. He says she only used the money narrative to turn him against Shanann. I think that is true, but I do think that she's also financially driven as well. And I think her pointing out her sofa from the Salvation Army with its bed bugs sort of almost proves that. Like she goes to extremes to explain herself in a certain way that is simply an appearance, in my opinion.
Right. But said how when she went to his house, everything was so expensive and fancy. Her eyes were wide open, checking everything out.
Yeah, they were. She knew all about it.
Yes.
Lauren says, also, anyone notice the things he tells Ellie are the things her friend suggested? Yes. The only time he could have looked at her phone was that Monday upstairs. And he was looking.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
And I think he took that all in because he didn't have a prayer at that moment and he knew it.
He knew it.
Let's see. So Lauren says maybe she went somewhere to decompress. I think Cassie or NA suggested that she do that before everything. I mean, that would be a good suggestion. Obviously, I think they were all sensing that it was not going to be a good thing for her and Chris to be in that same household together. Little did they know. But I think that she and her friends did all have that feeling. I mean, she said she told Addie she didn't feel safe with him anymore after he said he didn't want the baby.
I know. I think about that. That's a hard one to swallow. And I'm sure Addie thinks about it too. Like, should we have tried to make her stay? But Shanann was pretty hard-headed. She was going back with him. She wasn't going to stay with her parents in North Carolina. I couldn't see that happening yet.
No. No. Definitely not. Oh, geez. So, all right, guys. Well, it is 2 minutes to midnight here. So I know that this was, I think listening to that confession, it's always, a tough thing. I think that because, the whole truth has not been revealed, in my opinion, listening to it and deciphering these various levels of truth versus lying is valuable. There was somewhere in his confession, I thought it was in what we just listened to. There were a couple times where I wasn't paying full attention to what we were listening to because I was reading through chat or whatever, but there is a point where he says out of his own mouth when he's talking about, with what happened to Shanann, and he says, then they woke up. I
Yes.
wanted to point that out, but I don't know if I missed it or if it's in a different.
Yeah, because I don't remember hearing him say that.
It's definitely said. I heard
Oh, yeah, no, it is said.
Yeah.
That's when I thought,
Yeah.
oh, horrible.
Yeah, that's when I had heard it the other day. So, well, gosh.
Yeah, because he says that.
Go ahead.
Doesn't he say Bella watches him like taking Shanann down the steps and her body can't carry her anymore, and it kind of just.
That's right. I kind of think we missed it because the only time I could hear it was with the audio levels being like as they are right now, because he kind of whispers a few things. I'll try to find it so we can all hear it, but it's definitely said. And thank you, Curious Rose, so much for being on panel. We love having you on panel. Thank you very much. It's awesome to have you to give your feedback about things, and to everyone loves to hear it, including myself. Thank you very much. You're very welcome, honey. And thank you very much, moderators, and people in chat, of course, are saying thanks. And hi, Katarina, by the way. I didn't say hello to you yet. I saw you a couple times, but I didn't want to stop the video at that point. What did you say here? Shanann didn't have a chance entering what she thought was the safety of her own home. That's really just such a sad thought to me.
I can't even think of it. It makes me so sad because what did she say? One of her last posts was like, "Oh, can't wait to get home to Chris and the kids." It's like, oh,
I know
that is a heartbreak. You don't have to agree with her parenting. You don't have to agree with her as a person. No. Just when you see that type of a text, it breaks your heart knowing what was coming to her.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Judy, and hello, Judy, and welcome, says, such a coward he is. He would rather take innocent children's lives than face divorce. I know, all he had to do, someone commented the other day, I loved it. All he had to do was say he was going out for milk and never come home. You know, that's what people do. Hi, Chick, by the way. Yeah. And Bebop's asking if there's an after party. I don't know. Are you going over to your chat channel or anything after this? If you are, go ahead and put that in the chat and let people know.
Thank you, John. Thanks, John. We love John. Thank you, Ara.
We love John.
Thanks so much, Ara.
Yeah, so Ara and Utter Nutter and Joan, and I know ADHD Life was here for a while, and Nancy.
Everybody was great. Such a great group.
I hope I didn't miss any of the other moderators. And Curious Rose is a moderator too.
Yeah, there's so many. There's so many good moderators, and just it's just a great chat.
It is awesome. It's a great group. So if I missed any moderators, guys, I'm really sorry. I hope I didn't. So yell at me if I did. And to all of you, and thank you for those who became members and subs, and everyone. Thank you so much for being so wonderful. And I love having you guys here in chat. I hope you get something valuable out of it. If you have any questions or need to let me know about anything, please email me at wattsobsession@gmail.com. There's no "the" in that email address. It's just wattsobsession@gmail.com. So everyone, be safe. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for all that you do. And please have a good night.
Good night. Bye.